How's it going, everyone? The ninth training camp practice has concluded not too long ago, and today was a lot of veteran rest day. A lot of veterans didn't really participate today, especially after such a long practice yesterday. Yesterday was actually the longest practice, with it just going over 2 hours. This one also just went slightly over 2 hours. It was a relatively warm day over there in Green Bay, and there were really no other weather factors, just the heat, but it was a nice sunny day over there. So, going along with who was injured and who didn't participate today at today's practice. A new injury that kind of came up after yesterday was running back Josh Jacobs. He was not practicing due to a groin injury, so it's a little frustrating kind of seeing he had a groin injury, and then like earlier in the offseason he had a hamstring injury, so two injuries in the lower body before even the first preseason game. A little alarming, but hopefully he's not going to have much injury problems going forth, but still a little nerve-wracking on that aspect. Next, we have rookie linebacker Adrian Cooper. Yesterday, he was taken out of practice. He was seen pretty much with no pads and no helmet halfway through practice, and initially it was thought to be a groin injury. There's been more clarification, and it was actually a little hip injury. Matt LaFleur called it a little injury, but it was a hip injury. So he didn't practice today, probably to give him a little bit more rest and all, but doesn't sound like there's really any fear on his part that it's a significant injury and it should sideline him for a while. Moving along, then we have Carrington Valentine still out with a hamstring injury. Considering it's a hamstring injury, he might be out for at least a week, considering, you don't really want to push it, especially with how hot it is out there in Green Bay. You don't really want to push him back too fast, so he didn't practice today, and he probably won't practice this Saturday as well at the family night, but could be surprised, but I don't honestly expect it. Then Tucker Kraft, he is still on the injury list due to that pectoral injury, so he didn't practice. Josh Myers was not at practice today, once again, due to a personal matter. So no idea of what this personal matter is, but that's 3 out of the 4 past practices that he's missed due to a personal matter. And then as for the veteran rest days, we've had Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, and Elton Jenkins all out for vet rest. So a lot of key players right there are not practicing already, which is fine. This is the 9th training camp practice, and they've pretty much practiced most of the actual training camp days. And also one more player that I actually initially did forget, Tyler Davis is also out with a vet rest day. So once again, a lot of players getting a lot of veteran rest. So with a lot of players getting a veteran rest day, the lineups are actually looking a little bit different, considering, well, we don't have a lot of the starters actually starting during walkthroughs and team drills. So for the offense, you still had Jordan Love. A.J. Dillon took the starting spot, considering Josh Jacobs didn't practice today. Then you had Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. According to Andy Herman, he couldn't entirely see who was the third receiver. He believes it was Dontavian Wicks, though. But at the receiver front, those 4 receivers between Watson, Reed, Wicks, and Dobbs, they pretty much rotate, so it's really nothing to look into exactly of the depth chart, really. Then at tight end, you had Luke Musgrave. Then on the offensive line side, you had at left tackle Rasheed Walker. Rasheed Walker has pretty much, it looks like, since this is the 9th day of practice, he solidified that left tackle spot. He has had no competition over there. Initially, it seemed like Jordan Morgan could compete over there when we drafted him, but it looks like it's Rasheed Walker's job. Then at left guard, Royce Newman actually got reps over there at left guard with Sean Ryan. This is during the walkthroughs. Sean Ryan getting reps at center. Then during the team drills, it was kind of Sean Ryan and also Jacob Monk over there at center getting more reps there. But initially for the walkthrough, Sean Ryan played center. Then at right guard, Jordan Morgan got another start at right guard. It's starting to kind of seem like Jordan Morgan, he's been doing pretty well and getting more reps over there and getting better as every day passes, that he might have a good chance of actually stealing the job from Sean Ryan at right guard and could be the better player who eventually actually wins out. So as of right now, still a little interesting to look at, but for the past few days, Jordan Morgan's been getting a lot of first team reps over there at the right guard position over Sean Ryan. Now, granted, Sean Ryan's kind of been playing left guard and now center with all the veteran rest days and the personal matters with the players going out. So don't know how much that might have played an effect, but considering Jordan Morgan has been set right there at right guard and only right guard, that seems to be where they're kind of trying to push and give him the best chance to win a starting job. Then lastly, at right tackle, you had Andre Dillard once again getting into the first team spot. A little interesting. It seemed like Kadeem Telford was taking that job for a while, but it looks like they're putting Dillard back in there to get some reps with the first team. So not entirely Kadeem Telford's job, or really job as a backup right tackle, considering it would be Zach Tom. And so with the offense, yeah, there were a lot of players out on the defensive side and offensive side, but there were still some players that were kind of turning heads and kind of showcasing their skills, and some are just continuing to have great training camps. So first off, rookie running back Marshawn Lloyd has joined the team, and once he's finally joined the team, he's starting to turn some heads. He actually broke off, and it's kind of hard to do this with running backs, considering there's no real tackling. But he was able to break off what looked like to be a 50-yard run, what actually was a true 50-yard run, because he got to the outside and showed a burst of speed and was able to outrun a lot of defenders. So this isn't one of those like, well, the defender was right there, so he probably could have tackled him. No, this was like one of those legitimate 50-yard runs, kind of showcasing that burst. Next, we have Dontavian Wicks. He's continuing to have a very good camp, making a lot of great catches, a lot of hard catches. So he's continuing to have a great camp, and hopefully he continues this, because there's pretty good expectations out of him, even though we do have Christian Watson, Dobbs, and also Jaden Reed. Now, over on the defensive side, a lot of players, once again, out on veteran rest day. So the starting lineup for them looked like at the back end, you had Xavier McKinney, once again, the main safety. He's going to be starting. Then Javon Bullard got the start today over Evan Williams and Anthony Johnson Jr. Then over on the outside corners, you had Jair and Eric Stokes. Looks like Eric Stokes is pretty much going to run away with this battle. He's been having a very good training camp, especially with Valentine out. Then over at the slot, you had Keyshawn Nixon. Over at the middle linebacker spot, you have Quay Walker, and then you had Isaiah McDuffie get the start opposite of Quay Walker, especially with Adrian Cooper out with that hip injury. Kind of makes sense that he's going to get the start. He's definitely over Eric Wilson. Then over on the defensive line, considering you had a bit of players out, you had Kingsley Igbenegbu, TJ Slayton, Devontae White, and Lucas Van Ness. So a very young defensive lineup start right there, getting them a lot of good reps, especially against the first team offense. And so even though we've had a bit of starters out with the first team defense, they were still no slouches. They made a lot of good plays throughout the practices and the team reps. So there was one about Romeo Doubs and Javon Bullard, where Jordan Love threw to Romeo Doubs, and they were both going after the pass, Bullard and Doubs. And Dobbs ran hard and collided into Romeo Doubs. Sounds a little scary, but they were okay. Collided into Romeo Doubs, but actually prevented the completion of the pass and was able to break it up while trying to go for the ball. No type of penalty, even though it sounds like because he collided into Dobbs, but he was going for the ball, and it was a good breakup play by Javon Bullard. So Javon Bullard going up against Romeo Doubs, who's had a very good camp, and especially has been turning heads with his one-on-one matchups with Jair, pretty much just burning Jair. So good for him not being scared, competing and going up and trying to break up that pass and succeeding. And with keeping with the theme of the younger players and rookies making plays, Kingsley Igbenegbu made a good couple of plays. Lucas Van Ness made a good couple of plays, got some sacks. Isaiah McDuffie and Van Ness also did very well in stopping the run. So kind of nice seeing that, hey, they're doing very good in the run game defense of, well, what you can do in practice without tackling, but pretty much sealing up the gaps and being there and stuffing the run. Like, that goes a long way, having good practices. Hopefully this translates well for a run game defense, considering I don't remember the last time we had a run game defense. It's been, I think, over a decade. And then you had Jair Alexander and Keyshawn Nixon making a good play in the 2-minute drill. So for the 2-minute drill, the ball is at their own 45. They're down 7 with 1 minute left, no timeouts, 1st and 10. So Jordan Love throws to Wicks for about 13 yards, first down, and the clock keeps ticking. Wicks with a beautiful release versus Stokes, and Love throws an absolute effing dime down the sideline. Huge gain and out of bounds, unreal play. Then down to the 16, 38 seconds left, no timeouts, 1st and 10. Cox almost gets a sack, but Love gets rid of it, incomplete to Dobbs downfield. Was basically a throwaway for 32 seconds. Then Love checks down to Reed, picks up 7, the clock keeps ticking. Dillard, nice block on Cox, 4th and 2 at the 7, coming up, 9 seconds left. Dontavian Wicks wins easy and Love gives him a great ball, but Bullard wisely grabs him, pass interference called, first down at the 1, 4 seconds left. Then lastly, Jordan Love completes to Dontavian Wicks, but defense forced him out at the 1. Looks like there should have been a second left, but it ticks off. Defense wins. Wicks and Love were awesome on that drive. And the two players that made the play to stop Wicks from getting a touchdown was Jair Alexander and Keyshawn Nixon. And also, good job on Javon Bullard. Like, he was beat, but actually pass interfering, stopping an actual would-be touchdown, giving the defense another play, another life to try to prevent a touchdown, which they did. Good IQ on his part to actually do that, because that pass interference play actually did prevent a touchdown and allowed the defense to win the game. So very, very good ball smarts actually by the rookie Javon Bullard. And with that, the defense once again won over the offense. And it's actually very encouraging to kind of see, because there were a lot of starters that got veteran rest days, especially on that defensive line. You had Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, and Preston Smith all getting veteran rest days, and you had a young group in there. But yet they were still able to go out there, compete, and actually prevent a touchdown from this very good offense. Like, this offense still had all of its pass catchers in Wicks, Reed, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs. And to go out there and compete, it actually gives me, dare I say, hope with this Jeff Hafley defense. They've been doing good and getting to their gap control, stopping the run play, playing good defense, getting turnovers. And yes, it's just training camp, but it's really exciting to read and see that there could be something special with this defense. And for once, like I said, I have hope. A little scary, very bad to have hope with our defense considering it's been non-existent for so long. But hopefully this continues and we'll see more during family camp or the family night, then the preseason games, and then of course week 1 we'll definitely really know. But so far, great start to training camp. Players seem to love the defense. They're saying a lot of great things about this new defensive change, especially Rashawn Gary and Jair. So hopefully that does translate to more pressure, a better defense, a better run defense game, and more turnovers. And now lastly, we're going to move to the kicking competition over in the special team side. So going in today, you had Anders Carlson and Greg Joseph, pretty much the main competing players now that James Turner got released. So coming in today, Greg Joseph was 22 for 24, and Anders Carlson was 21 for 24. So Greg Joseph had a slight edge over Anders Carlson, and that didn't really change for Anders Carlson in the sense he did terrible. He actually did, he did terrible today. So Anders Carlson and Greg Joseph, they all got 7 kicks each. Anders Carlson only made 4 of them, so that put him at 25 for 31 for today, while Greg Joseph made all 7 of his. So that puts him at 29 for 31 today. So kind of, expanding on that lead over Anders Carlson, having a great camp. Now, we'll see more of how each player kind of competes when there's actually a crowd around this Saturday and there's more stress and more eyes on them, and to see how they can compete when there's actual other variables outside just instead of practice. We already know that Anders Carlson will definitely be probably scrutinized, especially if he misses. So this is something to probably help him. It's definitely going to be interesting how he copes with the added stress, because I'm sure it could be in the back of his mind that, yes, a lot of Packer players or fans want to slightly move on from Carlson because of how atrocious he was last season. And we kind of don't want to be like, let's give him an extra, inch. Maybe he'll pan out. Like, we do kind of get tired of seeing that a little bit, especially with the coaching changes. So there's definitely going to be a lot of more pressure on Anders Carlson than Greg Joseph, and we'll see how he responds. Another thing to note, despite this, Greg Joseph isn't a shoo-in. Like, yes, he's doing better in training camp, but statistically over the career, he kicks no better, at least in true game statistics. He doesn't kick any better than Anders Carlson, really, when he's kicking in the elements outside of a dome. Like, inside of a dome, yeah, he's good, but it's in a dome. But when he's kicking outside, he's missed his fair share of kicks. He's not that much of an upgrade statistically. But we'll see how this continues to go. Maybe Anders Carlson figures out what has made him go into this lull again. It might be a jinx because they obviously were just talking about him and how he fixed his form and it allowed him to kick a little bit better, and that's what's led to a very good start. Now he's in this lull where he's missing and barely making half his kicks. But there's still a lot of time left in the preseason and in the training camps to see if he can correct this and maybe win the battle, or actually does win the battle. But we'll see how the rest of training camp and preseason goes for both of these kickers and how long this kicking competition could go, because it could go to the last day. But let me know what you think down in the comments. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Pack Go.